Welcome to this video on digital forensic incident response. In this video, we are going to continue the conversation about digital forensics, but we are going to dive deeper into concept that you are going to need to know for the exam. So we are going to talk about artifacts, we are going to talk about tools, techniques, those kind of things. And if you recall from the previous video, digital forensics is all about collecting and analyzing digital evidence. So this digital evidence is going to be collect first, obviously. Then we are going to analyze it. Now the NIST special publication 886, this is process that they recommend. This is also the process I am very familiar with in my work as a security engineer and architect. So this is what I follow as well. So we are going to walk through the particular forensic process starting with collection. So we are going to focus on collection first. Here, the data collection process is all about identifying all of the different sources of the data for forensic analysis and what to collect as well. So really what we are looking at is what are the collection priorities, where do we start collecting first, where do we go next, and so on. Those are our sources. So is our sources a storage device? Is it external media? Is there our remote storage? Is it personal statement, right? We want to identify anything of value that we are going to collect as part of this process. Now, the most important part is that you want written authorization for collection, whether it be written approval from senior management, whether it's approval that's implied by your incident response plan and signed by senior management. That's perfectly fine. But you need to have written authorization to do this and collect this. This has to do with privacy, because if there is an incorrect document anywhere, whether it be a warning banner, an employee agreement, or anything that was not signed by the personnel, anyone that you are claiming has committed a violation, you are collecting information about them, right? You are going to perform an internal forensic investigation. You are going to need either a search warrant from a court of law, or you are going to need formal approval from those senior managers in order to conduct this investigation. So it's important to have that done upfront, whether it's again in the incident response plan or it's a standalone written document that authorizes certain individuals or certain job titles. In my personal opinion, it needs to be names. You need to specifically identify who's allowed to do this and who's not, okay? And then as we are collecting evidence, we want to preserve it properly. Keep in mind, data can be volatile, it can change, it can get deleted, right? So we want to pull this data offline as fast as possible, and we want to create an exact copy of it. You never want to do forensic against the actual copy. You want to copy it in full, do a full backup, a full copy, and then work from that collected digital copy, okay? So you never want to take action against the evidence, because if you change anything, now the evidence is now tainted and it will no longer be admissible in court. Now this could be both for logical data and it could be like at bit level. That's we are going to make these copies, right? Again, it's very important to understand that this is literally a digital crime scene, right? So we don't want to do anything that's going to taint that. So all activity that is relating to the seizure, the access, storage, or what you have needs to be done against copies, and it also needs to be fully documented. So we want to look at collecting system log, system files, account information, whatever it is. We want to copy as much as of it possible. Same with code, application, clients. If there was some script used to commit a crime, or commit a violation, we want to take a copy of that and have all of that information. And then also the hardware, the computer, the servers, any embedded system, any kind of network devices, anything that was impacted by this violation, we want to collect and preserve. And then also the media, of course, backup tapes, hard drives, solid state drives, memory, whatever it is, right? We want to capture all of that if possible. And again, there are a variety of tools that will help you to do this. There are imaging tools that will take full snapshot of the system, collects all of the information for you. Again, we just need to make sure that we have approval to do so before we do that. Now you have the examination process. That's going to be our next focus. When we have the data collected, we want to review the process of the data to determine its relevant. So we want to collect as much as possible. Then we will again want to look for the best evidence and also the real evidence, things we can present, things that are going to be admissible. And also, what is the best possible evidence we can present to verify that this violation did or did not take place. Okay. And then you want to use various tools to search through and identify relevant data to the investigation. So this is about reviewing all your data, working through technical issues to discover any data, working through encryption if there's data that has been compressed, things like that. Tools like EnCase, Forensic Toolkit, MacQuisitions, the Sleuth tool, these are all the tools that can be used to help you to do this. Okay. Then you have the analytics part. So once you have examined and you have identified what you want to use, now you are going to focus in on your analysis. So you are going to formulate an investigative conclusion. This is where you are going to examine and you are going to determine. So this is what I think happened, right? We are going to draw a conclusion from the data that's been collected or examined. And then we are going to identify any person, places, devices, and events that have occurred that pertains to the incident. We are going to basically create an audit trail. This is the most common way that we perform the analysis. And remember, the best evidence and admissibility is what we are looking at here. So if we draw the conclusion, we have the evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt or beyond the preponderance of evidence. So that the conclusion is correct. That what most important here. If we can't do that, then we need to go back to the examination process and examine again, because without a doubt we have probably collected plenty of information. Now we need to just examine a little bit more and figure out if we need to add more evidence to draw the conclusion, or maybe we need to change our conclusion, right? So that's what this is all about here. Then once we have drawn the conclusion and we have the supporting evidence and we are ready to submit everything, now we are going to focus on our report. So we want to identify and document all of the forensic data and explain the conclusion. How did we get to that conclusion? We have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt or preponderance of evidence. And accuracy and authenticity is the most important aspect of this report. And this is just used to prove beyond a reasonable doubt or preponderance of evidence. Now, some consideration when we are performing forensic investigations. First of all, the investigator, they need to be competent and they need to be aware of all the possible data sources. This is really important that you need competent investigators. It is not as simple as just running tool. It's a mindset and there is a skill set behind it as well. So it takes a special skill set along with good quality tools and good investigative mind to pull this off and to find good evidence and draw a good solid conclusion. So we want to use consistent policy process and procedure for how we perform our investigation. That way we can submit that as evidence to court as well. And anyone collecting, accessing, storing or transferring digital evidence is responsible for compliance with these policies. So if you are brought in, if an investigator brings you in as a security engineer, or you are security analyst, or your security administrator, or even on network side or system side, if you are brought in, if you are responsible for collecting, if you access, if you store, you transfer or otherwise handle this evidence, you are responsible as a part of the chain of custody. So it's important that the procedure and your incident response plan. So in your digital forensic plan or whatever it is, outline the process for maintaining proper chain of custody, how it gets collected, how it gets logged, how it gets transferred, all those different things. Okay. The idea here is that we should be proactive and how we were doing this and not reactive. Okay, so the bottom line here is to understand each phases of digital forensic process.